Winter within the Enchanted Woods has felt different this year. Although it has still been dark and cold and all the leaves have still disappeared, it has been different in the sense of a mindset. The mindset of Alwyn Oak. Alwyn has been embracing the mindset of winter, and she has been hibernating beneath her cloak. Alwyn is a girl who enjoys all seasons, and the lesson each one teaches her. The thing about winter is, it teaches us patience and stillness, and this year Alwyn chose to succumb to its darkness. She played minor sonatas, the one she always wanted to learn, and got sucked inside novels that made her forget her real life in return. She surrounded herself with candle light and embraced her mind, although sometimes it dragged her well into the long night. She felt like a vampire in her lair. She looked outside to see sparkles of ice beautifully preserved in the garden. "I won't go out today," Alwyn said each day. "Tomorrow will be the day." But that day never came. Along the way, she decided she would write a piece, one that captured the beauty of winter mixed with her dark emotions to help her release. Although she tried and tried, the piece never came, for only a few ideas came forth, and Alwyn thought they were all lame. Alwyn began to realise that staying inside for too long was bad. Her head felt foggy, and she started to feel quite sad. So she plucked up the strength and looked outside. "Tomorrow will be the day I see you," and she said it with pride. Bright the next day, with steps like a fawn, Alwyn ventured within the woods, just after dawn. She felt disconnected, even colours appeared dimmer. She noticed the black silhouettes of the trees to the white sky and squinted in the sun's glimmer. She continued to walk down a familiar path with the pace of a snail, and remembered she'd named this place the Healing Trail. She couldn't walk for long, for her legs weren't ready for much, so she sat beneath a tree and watched as the day went past. She felt the tree beneath, grounding her within, but what she didn't know was magic was about to begin. As she gazed out, her eyes began to see colours, greens and browns. A whisper in the wind, a calling in the trees awoke Alwyn's ears. There were so many sounds. She felt the moss on the tree, so soft to the touch, and smelt the fresh air, filling her lungs. How she missed this so much. She saw the bare trees, the empty shells, but was reminded that they symbolised strength. Strength she had built up over the winter months, and now she felt ready to rise again. With each step, she noticed little things, textures, colours, the bark of a tree. She found a watching post and stood on it confidently. Gazing out with the sun on her face, something twinkled in the distance. She walked over and saw a charming little tree stump, a little watering hole to replenish her thirst, one that looked quite inviting. Alwyn gazed into the stump and saw her reflection there. It was only then she heard a whisper of the woods, a whisper that reminded her who she was. She felt enchanted and reminisced on how the fairies guided her there benevolently, and just like that, she was out of hibernation. Everything came back to her like a beautiful, long-lost memory. Weeks passed, and the calls and songs of the birds grew, and into Alwyn's garden they returned and flew. Their calls were like that of a celebration, welcoming the sun's return, and Alwyn kept topping up their seeds to keep them energized and warm without any concern. Since her first visit to the woods, Alwyn had been much more, for she realised the balance it gave her to explore. Today she ventured into a hidden spot that no one thought to go. It lies within the weeping ferns and holds many secrets below. Inspired by the winter's state, she returns here today, for the woodland has inspired her deeply to think of ideas to make the most of wintertime along the way. Hello Enchanted Ones. So today I actually feel like speaking face to face with you and I am here beneath the secret yew tree, and what's so nice about this area in the woods is that there is no mud. Somebody said to me recently that the 5th season within the woods is mud, and I agree with them. It's ridiculous, you can't get to a lot of places, but you can get to the secret yew, and I'm very happy about that. I've been in full hibernation mode, physically and mentally. I've been taking it so slow, not putting any pressure on myself to do anything. I've been recovering from the vertigo, which is still there, but it's getting a lot better, and it has actually made life a lot easier and a lot simpler when that pressure has been taken away. The woods is sleeping, everything is sleeping apart from birds, and I just want to mimic that at the moment and recharge myself. That's what I've been doing. What does bring new hope and what I really love is the bird calls, and the fact that they just know, because the days are getting slightly longer, even though it's like -4 today, they just know that spring's on the way. It feels so hopeful hearing their calls. It's funny actually, because since being inside a lot, I've kind of taken aboard this new vampy energy, this vampire energy, this darkness, this dark side of me. And then when I went out into the woods, I remembered the woodland side of me, and I've tried to kind of merge it together now and just kind of embrace both sides of me. So I've got kind of like a darker style outfit today with a few like woodland aspects. I quite like it. I call it Woodland Gothic Princess. So there's a few things that I would like to do in 2023, and one of them is to start writing a nature journal and incorporate that into a book. I bought myself this beautiful journal and I cannot wait to start writing in it. It's got this really cute little leaf on the front and it's bounded by this suede with brown pages, a binder which is so useful because I can take the pages out, I can swap them around if need be, but at the back I also have some pages that I can put like leaves in, things in nature that I find. I think it's just such a really cool idea for a journal. I'm going to be doing some nature journaling today. I've never really done it before, so I'm going to just take some inspiration of what I see, what calls to me, and write it down, draw it, write a poem. I don't know. We'll see what happens really. There's so many different aspects of creativity that we can write or do into this. There's nothing quite like a winter's picnic in my opinion. I just think it's so beautiful outside. As long as you keep yourself warm, as long as you keep yourself dry, you will be absolutely fine. And actually in the sun, sometimes the winter sun is just so warming. Even though it's the middle of winter and it's in the minuses, there's something about being in the sun that kind of makes it feel like it's the beginning of spring, which I really love, although I'm in the shade right now, but I will be in the sun in a minute. Every time I'm out in the woods, I get so mad at myself because I get hungry straight away. So I have been making these like high energy protein pellets, if you will, because sometimes I can't bother to cook. Sometimes I'm too lazy to do anything. I just need a high protein pellet to get me through the day. And that's exactly what I have here. And these are so simple to make. I promise you, you will not regret making these. Just like the birds, Alwyn needed a snack, something tasty, high in protein and beneficial with lots of fat. This snack would keep her warm with the energy she desired, for only a few ingredients and a touch of magic was required. 60 grams of oats and 100 grams of fruit and nuts. She mixed in her favourites: sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds and cranberries, and an extra spoonful of cinnamon to keep being protected by the fairies. She combined this with peanut butter and golden syrup to be the glue to adhere them as one. Then place them in the fridge for half an hour to help the mixture firm, and they were nearly done. Once she waited, she moulded the mixture into bite-sized balls, but whilst she rolled them, she pictured herself growing strong and healthy as the sun recalls. Along with my oaty protein pellet thing, I have been having a really refreshing tea, and because it's winter and because there's illnesses, it seems, everywhere at the moment, I'm just treasuring my health in every single aspect. I have been having orange and rosemary teas. Orange because, of course, vitamin C, and it helps with health and it just gives you that burst of energy. And rosemary really helps with cognitive skills, and it really helps with kind of keeping your brain active and your memory too, which I kind of need in winter because I feel like my brain just kind of goes to mulch. So I'm going to begin journaling now. A lot of you might not know where to start if you want to journal, and to be honest, I don't really know where to start either. I've just been lacking inspiration, and you know what, that is completely okay. What I'm going to do is just see what draws itself out to me first. Just have a look around. If there's anything, I mean, something highlighted by the sun, something that is making a sound like a bird, a particular stick, anything. Sometimes the closer I look up to something, whether it be moss or ivy, the more beauty I can see in it, and then suddenly I get so inspired by that tiny little thing. But that tiny thing could be everything to me, and then I can make a whole video on it. So let's try and find a few things that we like the look of. One of my favourite things about winter is how the moss is exposed, and it's so beautiful the way it clings on. It's so warm and fuzzy. Freezing, but I'm sure it's a nice warm blanket for this tree. Look at that shadow. Oh my gosh, look at that shadow of that holly bush. The study of moss and two pieces of ivy in great detail. Another thing about the sun that I love in winter is how low it is, of course, but how you can see so many layers in the forest. Like you can see there's all these silhouettes in the front of the trees, but then you can see in the background the dying ferns and then the little droplets of water and sap sparkling in the distance. And there's a bird of prey up there too. What is this? What is this thing here? It's like roots that have come up. Oh, I think it's so cool. Kind of looks like a little fairy den in there actually. Can you see? How beautiful. Oh my goodness. And it's covered by these ferns. And these ferns are still living, which is interesting because all the other ferns around it are dead. So why are these still living? There must be a different variety maybe, or the fairies have kept them living. Oh, how inspiring. Oh, I love this fairy home. I need to draw it immediately. I've always been so entranced by this tree as it's just perfectly bent this way. It's just the most perfect break, and it's like a movie set. The sun is shining on it. Sometimes I think that the sun is speaking to us and wants us to notice where it's shining. It's telling me that sometimes, even though we may fall and we need a rest, there's always time to heal the part that breaks, and the sun is healing the wound of the tree. My drawing so far, my snapped tree, which is there. That's just as much as my hands can take from the cold today, I think. I'm so cold. I'm gonna go home and have an orange and rosemary tea. But I have just done like kind of basic sketches. I could leave them like this to be honest, but I want to go home and like make more of them. I've taken a couple of pictures of the things that have inspired me, so I'm gonna kind of copy from there, but also use my imagination. I'm gonna write down some words too, just around like healing, hibernating. I'm so glad I did this. It's just like opens your eyes to so much, and I'm really excited to do it all year round, to be honest, and bring you along with me when I do it. It's really how I gain inspiration, but usually I keep it in here, but now it's kind of like unloading into a book, which personally I think is good for me and my sanity. Otherwise my head just goes around and round and round and round and round and all of these ideas, and like I guess I need an outlet. That's what I'm trying to say. 2023, it's about me having an outlet for my creativity. Right, so let's go home and let's get warm and fuzzy, just like that tree that's covered in moss. Alwyn journeyed home to finish what she started, for her journal was full of ideas for which she felt wholehearted. She sat at her altar and made a tea, a bubbling witch's brew. Surrounded by candlelight, she was back inside, and now she felt she was facing both the day and the night. She first finished sketching the fairy's home and decided it needed colour. Biro and watercolour felt right together and gave it a whimsy glow. To Alwyn's surprise, she began to see symbols. The moss and ivy she drew looked unmistakably like a bird. To be exact, she saw a blackbird and decided to look this up in turn. The blackbird's message spoke of hope and optimism. It said to let go of your inhibitions and bring sound healing in. She thought this message was perfect, and it really ticked the box, and stepped back to look at her book and couldn't believe the paradox. It didn't occur to her that all of these messages was what she truly needed to see. The fairy's home looked like a symbol of the sacral chakra, and the snap tree was a beautiful mantra. And lastly, the blackbird gave her a message for the next step she truly needed. She thought of the piece she was trying to write and realised perhaps she was overthinking. So she opened the door, even though it was cold, and let the beautiful bird song in to help her with clear thinking. And with an empty mind, she went over to the piano, and within a short time, she was able to write a piece of music for Imbolc, using inspiration from both the day and the night. Fragments of music she wrote in the darkness were now pieced together with moments of light. It was only then Alwyn realised she could get it right. For there can be no light without dark, no light without the night. Alwyn faced her fears this winter, but in return she learnt it was all right. Thank you for watching, Enchanted Ones. I wish you a truly blessed Imbolc and winter season. All my love, Alwyn. I'm in the woods, yeah?
Yeah, how I knew that?
How did you know?
Live 360.
Oh, you can see where I am on the map.
Yeah, you're somewhere. I don't know exactly where you are. You're in the woods.
I'm at the secret U. Did you miss us? I cannot feel my hair.